Hello Gunpla fan, this is Cookie Slayer for part 3 of the Kämpfer review. Today we're going to do one of my favorite parts. We're going to look at the Kämpfer's parts. So I'm also going to talk about a part of the build that I liked or disliked. There's a couple particularities that I never really experienced before with newer kits, so I'm going to be talking about those too. So let's start. I'll be showing the legs first. Here we go. So this is one of the legs. I didn't put the armor on this one. That way I could show you the inner frame. As you can see, the inner frame has decent amount of details. But it's also filled with polycaps. You can see here and here, there's polycaps for the armor parts that go on top of it. It's the same here, there's one inside. Otherwise, you can see here that there's before I've put the armor on, this is how this thruster is going to hold on. The joint itself has screw in it, like most of the joints in the kit. Those were not too bad to put in, but there's quite a lot of them. So here you go. As you can see, the kit, the leg doesn't really bend all that well. There's a bit of frontal bend too, but that one's not too bad. So yeah, it's a bit more than 90 degrees, but with the armor on, you'll see it's a bit less than that. One part I really like about this part is the joints here. They've added nice details, but those don't have a connection down in the foot, so you need to be careful because sometimes it can block, like here. So you really need to put it in front, that way it slides in and this part goes up. Talking about the foot, there's no articulation at all. The only thing that moves is this. I guess it's the grip for space combat when they hold onto asteroids and stuff like that. Also, a thing to note, the thruster under the foot doesn't have any yellow part, so you need to paint this if you want it to be like the other thrusters. So there you go. So that's for the leg. I'll show next. Whoop. This one is a lot more secure when the armor's on it. I'll show the leg with armor. So here we go. So you can see that there's a lot of more armor going in here, and there's this thruster part that can extend and go back in. Also for the bend, it's 90 degrees because the thruster hits the other part of the leg, so you cannot move more than that. The foot still has some good front and back movement, but side to side is not very much. It akin to a high grade, I would say, for the movement there. Also the kneecap moves a bit on this polycap that's inside. That's a plus. So yeah, I really like here the space between the armor plates. It has quite a lot of details. And there's a hole to put the beam saber, but you cannot put the whole beam in. You need to split it in two and then put this part in like this. But it's still a nice little addition, so you can put a piece there, but you'll probably need a Ziploc to hold all the other parts that don't fit on. So yeah, not that good of a leg, to be honest. Guess that's part of building an older kit. Next, we'll go for the waist. There's nothing special here really. These don't move, so it's only ball joints for the legs. So I don't expect much movement there. I haven't put the kit together yet because I wanted to do that in front of the camera to really see my first impression of it. Otherwise, there's some nice orange details. And yeah, here it's a simple ball joint polycap 2 for the torso, so probably not much movement there. So that's it for the waist. Like you can see, there's no armor skirt or anything. That's part of the whole rapid movement and actions of the Kämpfer. Next, let's go for the torso. Here you go. I really like the torso. There's a lot of details there. Thrusters here and here. Separation of colors for those. Actually, one thing I noticed, this little guy here, it had the tendency to move to get out, but right now it seems to hold. There you go. So it's not very solid, but the other one is okay. So I don't know if it's because I've cut part by accident, but nothing glue won't be able to fix, right? And since I'll probably paint it afterward, that won't be that much of an issue, and it's actually good because I'll be able to paint this little part aside. I'll leave it there for now. For the arm, ball joint, again, those don't move very well. Now the recent kits, the elbow joints usually come out so you can move the arm forward. I don't think this one is going to be able to do that much. Let's go for the back here. There's a bunch of thrusters. Those are pretty nice. They all move. This one has a tendency to come out, but it's not too bad. I'll also like this part here where there's actual holes, so you don't have to paint them black or drill it yourself if you want the better look. And finally there's the cord, which I really like. The look is very nice. It was a bit hard to build because I've never done that before, but basically you have a metal kind of tube, well, like a metal with plastic on top of it, like a tie wrap kind of thing that you need to put in, and then you tie a knot in these parts here so it holds together. I had a bit of issue with it, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be when I first saw it in the manual. Those slide on, so there's still movement when you attach it there, but once it's attached, it holds together very well. I was afraid that the tissue thing here would come out, but it fits in and doesn't want to move anymore, so that's very nice. Otherwise, oh yeah, the cockpit. Let's see if I can open it. There you go. Cockpit opens very well. You can see the pilot. I'll have to remove this guy and paint him at some point, but there you go. This one is very nice. Sometimes you need a knife or something like that to be able to open the cockpit, but this one really slides down easily and it stays put when it's closed, so that piece I really like. And there's also quite a lot of details here that I'll be able to pick up with paint and marking afterward. So let's see the head now. So here you go. I haven't put a sticker on the eye yet. If you want to move the eye, you actually need to open the head to be able to move it. So there's that. Now the kits usually have a little piece underneath or behind it so you can move the eye, or they actually move by themselves now when you rotate the head on newer kits, but this is older. Here we have the articulation is going to be a ball joint, and then there's this piece here that can go up and down. Because this part here is going to attach right here so we can raise the head. But I don't think it's going to move that much, but at the same time it's a big head, so anyway those armor parts would block movement probably. The fin doesn't move like in the anime. Let's see if I can get this here. There you go. It's quite easy to remove this part to then move the eye, so I won't complain too much about that one. Obviously now the technology is better. Otherwise there's a couple nice details on that you can pick up with paint. One of the downside here, these two parts are separate parts, but they did it in blue instead of orange. So I feel it's kind of weird because there's a lot of orange parts, so they could have put those easily on the plate and have them orange instead of having you need to paint them. But yeah, so that's for the head. Now for the arm, here you go. This is the arm without armor, so that's the pretty much the minimum armor you need to put on for it to hold. Quite a bunch of detail too on this part of the inner frame. The hand has good movement. I don't think it really needs more. The band is not that great, but with the armor it's a bit worse too. We'll see that afterward, but again, not much flexibility with that kit. And here you can see this part is going to hold the arm to the torso, and this part here is where you attach the armor piece. So there's a ball joint here and here, and it moves quite a lot. Oh, here you go. Let's put this in. There you go. So there's a lot of movement. I guess that's good, because when you move it, sometimes the shoulder armor can be in the way, so you'll be able to move it aside. But at the same time, I think I would have preferred it to be a bit more stable. Also, you can see here there's the gray part inside to hold these. This part can be a bit hard to align correctly when you put the two pieces here of the shoulder together. But for the second one I had less problem because I had the hang of it. But you really need to be careful when you put it together to really align it in both holes here along with the poly cap before you press on the two parts to make them hold together. So here you go. Let's see the arm with armor. So there's not many more parts. There's two here. That's it. Once you put the shoulder, and you can see here that it really doesn't bend a lot because the armor gets stuck here. Oh yeah, and I forgot to say there's a screw in this joint and there's a screw in the shoulder armature here to hold that holds both those parts. For the hands, you have the regular trigger finger, tree finger, and the split with the thumb. Those are very tight, so that's very good. I hope it's going to be able to hold the weapons, because in those hands, sorry, there's no peg to put the weapon. So we'll see if it can hold his weapons correctly without them drooping or getting out of the hands, but I need to really apply pressure for those fingers, so I'm hopeful. That's it for the regular parts. I'll do a little close-ups here on the other hands. This one is pretty nice. There was a bunch of mold lines, but it's soft plastic, so it's really easy to remove them. So there you go. So for the weapons, let's start with the shotguns. Let me just grab the other part. Here we go. So the shotguns, They've got quite a lot of details. I really like it. The front hand as a whole already, that's deep enough, so you don't need to make a bigger one if you want it to look better. So that one's very nice. There's also this part here that you can replace, well, actually remove, and you just need to put this part here in like this. So there you go, the shorter version. It's pretty easy to remove. They also added a little peg here, so just you have to remove it. And to attach the other one, it's very easy. You just put it in, slide it in, and that's it. It holds pretty well. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Like you see, it holds. So that's for the shotguns. Obviously you have two. Then you have the Stormfrost, I think that was the name. Those are pretty straightforward. Two pieces for this, connected to the holding part of the weapon. You can also remove it and put the fins behind it. There's nothing really to attach, but there's a hole there, so I assume metal wire or plastic wire could be put in to have it fly. I do like the look with the fins too, although I don't understand how the fins fit in the handle, but yeah, that's still, I really do like the weapons. I'm looking forward to seeing it on the actual model. And finally, for the range weapons, the bazooka. Again, quite a lot of detail on it. I really like it. The handle moves a lot, so I'm hopeful I'll be able to have it stand above its shoulder, and so he can hold it and look like he's firing it, and don't look silly like some of kits do when you try to have the rocket launcher. There's the visor here. No stickers, nothing there, but I'm going to paint it, so I don't mind really. There's not much color separation. That's the only thing I guess I could criticize about it. The hole is quite deep for the front hand too, which is great. So there you go. You got the exhaust port and the ammo fee box. I really like the design of this. Now for the melee weapons, well, you have the usual saber. Quite simple design. It's two pieces together, like I've shown. You can put one in the one half in the legs. So there you go. And the last weapon, here we have the chain mine. It's mounted on a metal wire, actually two metal wires that are attached inside one of the mine. I had to measure the space between those so they all look pretty much at the same distance from one another. The way I did it is I've got a piece of frame for the actual size they said. I think it was 15 millimeters, and then I placed it between them, put all the bottom parts, and I put all the parts on top for them to hold. So that way it was quick, and I didn't have to measure each time. And then there's the handle there. I do like the weapon, but I don't know how well it's going to be for posability. But the wire is stiff enough for it to hold some pauses, but it will have to touch the ground or a stand. So yeah, this one, like as you can see, is really long. I quite like it, even though that weapon didn't really help the Kämpfer to survive.